Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining. It's nice to have you all again for 30 days of learning. And this is the second official week for 30 days of learning. And today we'll be treating a very important topic. And we've started some already. And you can always go through the recordings to go on to check out previous classes. So for today, we'll be having a special topic from one of our guests, from one of the leaders in the Power Platform community. And today we'll be treating building an automated solution, part one. So make sure you come in tomorrow for the second part. And we have somebody, who is actually experienced using this tool. In the name of Omolola Alfred. She works with Ha-Shem, and she is a Power Platform developer with roughly about a year to 2 years experience. And without wasting much time, I would like to introduce Omolola Alfred as she go on to take the class. Omolola Alfred.
All right, thank you so much, Toby, for that introduction. Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, from wherever you're joining from and at whatever time that you're watching this. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 minute. Okay. All right, so confirm. Toby, please let me know if you can see my screen. And also drop on the chat box if you can see my screen and if you can hear me clearly. Hello, Toby. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? You can unmute, Toby, and tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and I can see your screen as well.
All right. So for today, we are having building an automated solution part 1. And today is the day 8 of the 30 days of learning. So for today, so before we go to the agenda that we have for today, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. All right. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I'm trying to navigate this. All right, great. Okay, so a little bit about me. So that's my picture there, if you've never seen me before. And yes, my name is Omolola Alfred, and I'm a business application developer or Power Platform developer, whatever you know it to be. And so my hobbies are music. I like listening to music, stargazing and reading, but don't focus on the hobby. It changes often. So yes, but that's all that there is to know about me for now. So let's just dive into our agenda for the day, what we have for today. So like we said, today we are building an automation solution using Power Automate. And today is day 8, meaning that we've had different sessions from day 1 till now. So a quick recap, because what we'll have today is going to touch almost everything that we've done from day 1 till now. So the first day we had introduction to Microsoft Power Platform, where almost every of the component of the Power Platform was introduced to us, from Power Apps to Power Automate to Power BI to Microsoft Dataverse to the new Power Pages. And day 2, we had introduction to Dataverse and SharePoint. So we were introduced to Dataverse, the Dataverse and SharePoint. So we were introduced to building web pads and all of that, creating lists and everything that we can do with SharePoint. We're also introduced to all the concepts of the Dataverse, both the custom and the custom columns and the standard columns. Then the third day, we were introduced to Power Virtual Agent. And the 4th day, we built a Power Virtual Agent solution. The 5th day, we did introduction to Power Automate. So for that class, it has been recorded, and the recording will be shared with us. So today, I'm going to touch a little on introduction to Power Automate, and we'll dive right into building a solution. Then day 6, we had. Okay, yeah, so that's all that we've had actually. So for day 6 and day 7, we had like the general class where we did like a recap on everything that we have done. So that is that about the recap. I'm just going to go ahead to share another screen showing us the Power Automate Studio, and we'll start building. Okay, so 1 minute while I share that screen with us. Okay. All right, so just 1 minute. I'm going to share that screen with us soon. Okay, great. All right, so this is the Power Automate Studio. So when you open your Power Automate, this is what you're going to see. So from here, we have home, we have action item, we have my flows. So if you've created any flow at all, this is where it's going to appear. Then you have create. So here at create, this is if you want to start creating a flow, this is where you're going to start from. And you can either choose automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, scheduled cloud flow, desktop flows, business process flow, process advisor. And from here, you can also see all the templates that are available. So you can choose to start from a template, and you can see all of this. So like I said before, there's already a recording on this. So I'm not going to dwell so much on this. So we're just going to dive into building an automated solution today. So now there's something I want to drive home. So before we start building an automated solution, it's not just about starting building something, right? Before you start building an automated solution, you want to solve a problem. So you are thinking from a problem solving angle. So now I know that most of us here are students. However, I will not just build or show us or demo something that is just, let me just say interesting to us. However, we'll be looking at something that can actually drive value, something that can actually bring value to any business. So this is the solution that we are trying to solve. In an organization, so there's this organization. For now, let's just name it Omolola organization or Lola organization. So this organization, they have limited staff, and they receive so many requests. They received okay, so let me put it like this. They have quite a number of staff. However, their admin staff is just very few. I think they have just 2 admin staffs, and this admin staff, they are tasked with everything in the company. I mean, all the admin tasks of the company. However, they also have task of providing food, taking all the requests of the employees of the organization. So requests around maybe supply of data fee, electricity fee, things like changing of their laptops and all of that. So whenever there's a problem, the employees, they go to the admin, they write letters and all of that. And on the table of the admin, they have so many paperwork, so many things to just, to solve, and they've not been able to do it. So now they've called us now, like all of us, they've called us individually. They've sent a letter to you and they're like, oh, hi, good afternoon. I'm looking for a Power Platform developer, or in this case, I'm looking for an automation developer, somebody that can just help us digitize all of this, right? So we're going to start from a form. Now, when we were doing the onboarding and throughout the course of this program from day one till now, they've shown us form, they've introduced us to some of these things. So today we are going to start from forms. And okay, so today we'll be starting from forms, and we'll start from creating a form. So I'm going to drag my, okay, so let's just go from here. Let's start building a form. You can just go to office.com. On office.com, you will see, if you click on this, I'm sure we're already familiar to all of this. So if you click on this, you will see all that you have. You see all the Microsoft Office apps that you have access to. So we have the Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, SharePoint, and all of that. But today we're going to be starting from forms. So we're going to create a new form. And so for creating this form, you can customize it however you want to. So, but it's just like a simple form. And another thing we are going to be doing is, once we are done, I'm going to copy the link of this form and I'm going to drop it in the chat box. So you're going to fill the form and we'll see the magic of what we have built. So now let's name our form. So let's name our form staff request. Staff request. So now, if you're building a form like this for an organization and you're using their environment and all of that, automatically the people that would build, so if you come here, you see the settings, you can see the people that can respond. Anyone can respond. Only people in my organization can respond. And here you can see record names. So if this is being filled by people in your organization, it's going to pick their names and it's going to pick their email. However, since I'm going to be making this anyone can respond, because I'm going to send a link, I'm going to drop the link in the chat box, and it will allow anybody, people that are not even in my organization, to fill the form. Okay, so because of that, we are going to put names. So if I'm using just people in my organization, I don't really need to put name and email and all of that. It's just going to capture all of that. But we are going to put name. So staff name. And next we are going to add another field, and the other type will just be text. We are going to add email. Okay, so we are going to have email. Next, we are going to have so next we are going to have department. So department is also going to be a text field. We're going to have department, so we want to capture the department of the employee. And we are going to have job title. Oh. Okay, let's do this. Let's delete this and make the department's choice. So this is going to limit the mistakes that people can make. They can type a department in another way. They can decide not to, for departments, so people will even just put things like ask me again or things like that. So to just stop that, we are going to make it option as choices. So for departments, we'll just have random departments like say sales. I can just do and marketing department. Okay. All right. You can have sales and marketing. We can have HR, engineering, the research, add another option, IT. Okay, so that's fine. Then the next one is also going to be a choice field, and that's going to be job title. So title. For job title, we have sales executive. We have HR and admin. We have business application developer. Okay, let's just do software developer. The developer, business application. Okay. Let's add 3 more. So let's have network engineer. Network engineer. Okay. Let's have digital marketer. And researcher. Okay. So now we're going to add another field. So request type. So what's the kind of request that you want to drop? So I'm just going to limit this to say 5 requests. So request types. Okay. So for request type, we're just going to we'll have a device renewal. The system is old and you want to change it. Research funds. Transport funds. Okay. Lastly, let's just have internet fee. Okay, great. Okay. Then the last one that we want to add is reason for request. So what's your reason for making this request? Okay. And for this, we'll make it long answer and we'll make it required because we just don't want people to spam our email. We're going to make it required. We're going to make it required. I'm going to make this one required. So everything required. Email required. This required. So you can put this. No. Okay. So I can choose to add a subtitle and I can choose not to. So let's just leave the form at this. Everything required. Yes, this is required too. All right. So when we are done with this, the next thing to do is to create your database. That's your SharePoint. So we're showing how to create a SharePoint list. So we'll just go ahead, come here and choose SharePoint. Okay, so for this organization, this is the Omolola organization, and I'm just going to come here to new, and I'm going to create a list. All right, blank list, and I'll name the list staff request. Staff request. No, we will not bother about description, so that we'll be right on time to take questions and all. Okay, so create list. Now, add your columns. So I want everything they submit here, everything submitted here. I want it to submit to this database. So all I need to do is just to have every field here, duplicate every field that I have here on my SharePoint list. So my SharePoint list now is going to serve as my database. So I have staff name, I have email. Just come here, single line of text. So for my, while naming my list, I use camel casing. I try my best not to put space just to mitigate any error. Staff name, save, email. Now I can just do staff email. Staff email. Okay, staff email, single line of text, saved. Then what else do I have on my forms? I have department, I have job title, single line of text, department. I have my job title, single line of text. So I have job title. So all of this is actually necessary. You need to provision all of this before you start building. So single line of text, job title. What else do I have on my form? I have job title, I have department, I have request type, and I have reason. Okay, reason requests. Let's just change this to request reason. Or reason for request, any is fine. So request type. So single line of text too. Request types. I can just copy and paste, but prefer typing. So then the last one, request reason. Save. request reason, and you save. Okay, so for request reason, we are not going to use single line of text. We're going to use multi line of text. That's because the reason you get might be more than just one line. So use multi-line of text. And okay, another thing we are going to add to this is we are going to add approval status. So we want to do an approval when you get the once anybody sends or fills the form and does everything that you want them to do, we want to get an approval. So you're just going to have a choice field for approval status. Approval status. Okay. Now, the choices we have pending. When they've not attended to it, it's pending. And we have approved. And we have now. Okay. So this personally, I just for UI sake, I like my decline to be red. I like approved to be green. Doesn't exactly matter though, but okay, save. And I also want to capture the responses. So this can also be multi-line. So let's name this response. Okay. All right, so your database is ready. The name of your database, staff request, you have everything here. Now, automatically, when you create a list, the title column is required. So we want to hide it, and also we're going to change it from being required. So just come to list setting, and if you go to list setting here, you see staff request. So you're talking to this staff request, and you choose this particular column, the title column, and you want to make it not required. So require this that this column contain information, no. Then okay. Good. Now come back and you come here, column setting. I told you we're going to hide this because I'm not going to use this title column, so there's no need for it to be here. So hide the title column and apply. All right, so now our database is fine. All the columns are captured. So now we'll go to our automation studio and we'll start the process. Now we have different types of instances. So we have automated cloud flow, we have instant cloud flow, we have the scheduled cloud flow, desktop flow, business process flow, process advisor here. So make sure once the recording is sent, you watch that. I'm sure that all this has been captured. So now for today, we are going to use the automated cloud flow. Okay, so Automated cloud flow basically just means that this automation is what you want to do is automated, meaning that you don't necessarily need to click anything for this automation to start. So is for this for this flow to start running, you don't exactly need to click on anything. You just need to do something. So it's watching for an event. All right. So if you read what we have here, you will see that we have triggered by a designated event. So meaning that it's watching for an event. So okay, so we're going to click the automated cloud flow now. Two things that start, or the major thing that you need to remember about flow is that there's a trigger and there are actions. So a trigger is what starts a flow. A trigger is waiting on an event to start a flow. So once a particular event starts, or once that a particular event is true, then the flow is going to run. So now there are actions. So you're saying that once this event is true, start this flow. Then what does it start doing? Start fulfilling all the actions that you have put in place. That's just what it is about. Now, so for all your actions are coming from a particular source. So you need a connector to connect to that source. So now we have a form and we are waiting for people to fill this form. So once people fill this form, we need the form connector to say, okay, whenever anybody fills this form, I need you to do this. Whenever anybody does this, I need you to do this. So the trigger is when a new response is submitted. You can see that this connector here is the Microsoft Forms. So we're going to select this. So I'm saying that choose your flow trigger. So I'm choosing this when a new response is submitted. Where? On my form, my Microsoft form. Then for flow name, I'm just going to put staff request. So when a new response is submitted, that is the trigger, then you create. Now, for instance, in an organization, you can have thousands of forms. So which form? You need to pick a form ID. So the form ID is just the name of your form. So like an identifier. So the identifier here is the name. So we have the staff request. That's the form that we just created. Then after the staff request, we want series of actions, like I said. So okay, now that I've chosen my form, what do I want to happen? I want to get the responses of the form. Whatever anybody has filled, I want to get it. So we have a card, another form card. So another thing you need to know, if you are not exactly sure of the names of cards, you can just type the name of the connector. So my connector here is form. So once I type the name of my connectors, you will see some of the actions that are available for that particular connectors. You can see here, you see triggers, you see actions here. Now you can see that this is get response details from Microsoft Forms. What do I want to do? I want to get the response of whatever form, the details that you've submitted on this form. I want to get the response. So I'm going to choose the get response details. Then I'm also going to choose, get response details from which particular form. I'm going to choose the form ID. The form ID, like I said, is just an identifier. And for this identifier, is the name of the form, staff request. Now you have a response ID. Now the response ID comes from a dynamic content. Dynamic content basically just means that the attribute of the form. Now this dynamic content, you're not the one that will create it. It will come automatically. All right. So the attribute is for the response ID, you have the response ID dynamic content, meaning that the ID of this particular form. So this form, there will be plenty instances of this particular staff request form. Lola will fill this form. Toby will fill this form. Chaflet will fill this form. So many people will fill the form, all right? So when they fill this form, we have different instances of the form, and each of the form have IDs. So I want to get the response of the particular form that has been submitted per time. So I'm going to choose response ID. Now, after choosing my response ID, what do I want to happen? So one thing you need to know is it is basic. You're not writing code. However, you need to understand the logic and you need to know what you want to do. So I want to get responses after a form has been submitted. So what's the next thing I want to do? I want to duplicate all these responses. I want to store it somewhere. I want to store it in my database. All right. So I'm going to call on, now my database is what? SharePoint. So like I said, if you don't know what to write, just come here and type SharePoint. You can see triggers here, you can see actions. So triggers happens once, and that's what you've already chosen. So the rest that will happen after the trigger are actions. So now you want to choose a particular action, all right? Which is I want to duplicate all my responses on my SharePoint. So what I want to do now is I want to create an item, okay? So now, where do you want to create the item? It's also asking for site address. So I have my site, Omolola site, and my list name, what we just created, staff request, okay? And immediately you do this, you would see all the columns that you have created. So it's saying that these are all the containers that you have created. Now, what you need to do, you need to pass in what you want to store inside these containers, all right? So all I just need to do, remember our friend dynamic content. So you just come here, you see all the dynamic content of what? Of the form. So now, dynamic content of every card that you put up here will always be available. So what you need to do is come here and map what you want to store to all these containers here. So all these containers are properly named and you want to map each to each one. Now, so we have staff name here. I want to map my response from form to this staff name. Staff email, I want to map my response from form to this department. I want to map my response, no, not here. I want to map my response from form to the department. Job title, I want to map my response from form to here. Request type, I want to map this. Request reason, I want to map request reason. Now, approval status. If you check it here, you cannot find approval status here. Okay? You cannot find the approval status here. However, you can find, yes, and you can also not find the approval response here because those ones will happen later in the flow, later in this automation process that we are building. Now, there's another thing that I want to show you. So, okay. So if I don't want to create email column on the forms, you can see an email column here. If you come here, you can see, okay, let's just go to the dynamic content. You can see responders email. So anybody that uses this form is going to capture the form is going to capture the person's email. So you can just use this. However, we already have this email here. We already have this email here, but I can decide not to use it, okay? And use the responders email, which is best. Okay. Now, when this is done, the next thing I want to do is that I want to inform my admin that, okay, Omolola Alfred has submitted a request. So you come here and, like I said, you can just search for approval. Now, when you search for approval, you will see create an approval, wait for an approval, start and wait for an approval. However, what's the difference between all of this? So what should I do? Which one should I choose? Should I choose create an approval, wait for an approval, start and wait for an approval? So basically, right, when you choose start and wait for an approval, it's going to start an automated approval process and wait for it to complete, meaning that when you feel this and an approval request is sent, it's going to wait until the admin or whosoever you have sent the approval to is going to wait for them to make an action on that approval, either accept it or reject it. Okay. However, you still create an approval. It's just going to start an automated approval process, but it will not wait for the approval to complete. So it will just create this approval and it will go ahead and continue the flow, meaning that if I choose this create an approval, after it creates the approval, sends the approval to whoever I want to send approval to, it will move on to the next card. If there's a next card, if there's no next card, it's going to end this process. Okay. However, we want to start and wait for an approval. We want to capture the response of the approval and use it for something. So what about wait for an approval? Wait for an approval will wait for a specified approval to complete. So instead of creating an approval, then clicking on waiting on an approval and tying the ID of this approval that's been created, just the same way we did for all of this, we're just going to go with start and wait for an approval. All right. So when you start and wait for an approval, now there are also other things to start and wait for an approval. You can see when you're starting and waiting for an approval, you see approve or reject. Everyone must approve. Approve or reject, first to respond. Custom responses, wait for all responses. Custom. So which one should I choose? Now, as this is just English, everyone must approve means that if I have 5 approvals, if I have 5 people that need to approve, what I'm going to do is that it's going to wait for when one person approves, it's going to wait for the next person to approve. It's going to wait for the next person to approve. However, among those 5 people, if one person rejects, this approval process is going to end. The approval will not bother going to the next person. So the best way to do this is if you have 5 approvers and if in your organization, if all these 5 people have different roles, so you're going to start from the least person. So let's say that I want this approval to first start from my team member. So I'm going to choose that particular team member as number 1. Then I want it to go to my team lead. I'm going to choose my team lead as number 2. I want it to now go after my team lead to my manager. It's going to be number 3. Then after my manager, I want it to go to, let's say the HR is going to be number 4. Then after the HR, I want it to go to, let's say CTO. It's going to be number 5, or let's say MD, depending on the rank. So it's going to go like that. So let's say your teammates reject, then it's going to end, meaning that there's no need for it to go to your team lead. If your teammate sees that this thing is wrong, then why should they actually go to your team lead? So we're just going to choose first to respond because we have just one approval at this present time. So this is going to ask you for title. So I can just choose your request type as the title. So if your request type, all the request type that we've chosen, if your request type is device renewal, we're just going to put device renewal. So title is going to be whatever request type that you have chosen. And okay, so let's be fast because of our time. So we're going to see that in action. So assign to, now I'm just going to choose myself. So whatever anything you guys choose, I'm going to be seeing it and we'll just be displaying it here for all of us to see. So details, so we can just say, if you want to be very formal, you can start writing a mail here, dear main, but you might not do that. You can just put details. So the detail, you've already put your request type, so you can just put the name of the person. You can say staff name as submitted a request here. Staff name has submitted a request and the details below. Okay, find the details below. All right. Now, what are the things you want your admin to see? Staff name has submitted a request. Find the details below. Okay. This is just English, nothing more, no code at all. Here we have, okay, so let's just say staff name from, put the department. So staff name from guidance and counseling department has submitted a request. Find the details below. So let's just write requests type. Requests type. And in front of request type, we're just going to put the request type here. As next line, we're going to say requests reason. So whatever reason, person will just see it here. Request reason. And that's all. So for item link, just come here and search your dynamic content. If you want the person to be able to go to your SharePoint. Now, know that all this dynamic content that we have here, they are SharePoint. You can see the logo of SharePoint. So if you choose item link to the item, you can see it here. It just means that there will be a link and they will be able to click on it and go to that particular item on your SharePoint page. So this will help them, instead of going to their SharePoint, that's their database, to start searching for this. They can just click here and it will navigate them there. So there's no need for item link description. There's no need for, we don't have an attachment. However, you can actually have an attachment here. If we've done anything in this previous steps, we can just find the attachment and add it here. But start and wait for an approval. Then now, when we are done with starting and waiting for an approval, what we want to do is that we want to update this SharePoint list, okay? What do we want to update the SharePoint list with? Just come here and look for updates, okay? So update this item, all right? Now you're going to choose, that's the same thing we did before. You're going to choose Omolola, that's the name of the company. You're going to choose list name, that's staff request. And you're going to choose the ID. So you can see create item ID. So the particular ID that we have here, just choose that. And update item, we have, so what do we want to update? Okay. So we want to update our approval status. We want to update our approval status with whatever outcome of the approval. Did they approve it? Did they reject it? So I want to have that here. Approval response, I want to have the, let's see. So you can just do responses. Okay, let's look for that. Yeah, so we can just have responses comments. That's comments added by the approval. You can have that there. However, this is going to throw this into and apply to each because is responses. So if there are 10 approvers, all their responses is going to go here. However, we don't want that. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this to my clipboard and I'm going to delete this. Okay, I'm just showing us what is possible. So we're going to do that again. Now get ready, everybody, because we'll all be doing this together. I'm going to drop the link now in the chat box and we'll see how this is going to work. All right, so quickly, let's just have update item. Omolola, list name is staff request, ID is this ID. Then this, like we did before, the outcome of the approval, that's the approval status value. Approval response, let's just have response summary. So whatever summary of the response is going to be here, including the comment and all right? Just basically the summary, not the comment, the summary. So it's going to capture the name of the person and all of that. All right. So we're going to save this. And now let's go to our form. So copy this. I'm going to paste it here now. And let us all fill this. Okay, so we are going to watch what is going to happen. So I have submitted, I've dropped it in the chat box. Please let us all fill quickly. As we fill, you would see what is going to happen. All right, if you can see what I just dropped, please type yes or comment on it, type something on it. All right, great. I can see, yes, we can. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and fill, and let's see what is going to happen. Let's go ahead and fill. Okay. All right, so somebody, Benjamin Ife. Okay, we have 2 responses. All right, go ahead and fill. Let's see what is going to happen. Good. So if you can still see my screen, you can see what is happening. This is my Outlook. You can see what is happening here. But before this, there's a magic I want to show you. It's not exactly magic though. Now, if you go back, you can check your run history. You can see it is running. Okay, it started running from this time, 4:52 p.m., 4:52 p.m., 4:53 p.m. So it started running once. As you're feeling, it is running. Okay, so let's check this. So if it fails, you can actually come here and track why has it failed. You will see the error messages and all of that. Get responses. See, look at the staff request. See the response ID 1, staff name Taiwo at admi@gmail.com. You can see department HR and admin, transport funds, to request funds for transport, all of that. Now, like I said, start and wait for approval. You can see that this next card is not going to run. It's not going to run because it is still waiting for me to approve. Because I have not approved it, it's not going to run. So let us go to my mail. Now, another thing that you can do, let's say, because like I said, the admin people, we are not many, it's just I and Toby, Oluwatobi Yusuf, that are currently in the admin department. So we are very busy. So while we are working, we can just see all of this approval can also come to your teams. So personally, I don't really like reading mails like that, except I'm, expecting something. So you can see so as I'm working, let's say I'm working, you can just see all of this in my team. So I can just approve right in my teams. Transport rest funds, see requested. I can decide to approve. I can decide to reject. Okay, let's see. Trust device renewal. There's no money now. We are going to reject. Sorry, not at this time. Is this from? Okay, so this is from Chukwemeka. Sorry, let me not pronounce your surname. You want device renewal replacement. Okay, I'm sorry, we will not be doing this at this time, so I'm just going to reject. All right, you can see rejected, and it's going to alert me immediately. I I've rejected. So another thing I can actually do, which we're going to do the next time. So for tomorrow, we have automation 2. We are going to do more things. We are going to add more approval. We are going to add a mail to the person. So as I'm rejecting, you will be getting a mail. For now, there's no mail. So because of our time, this is device renewal. Oluwatobi Yusuf. Toby is my friend. I'm going to approve. Okay, Toby, you deserve one. Okay, Toby. You deserve one because we work so hard together in the admin department. He deserves a system. Okay. Yes, the recording will be sent to us. The recording will be sent to everybody so that you can do this. Please ensure you do all of this. That's the essence of 30 days of learning. Internet fee. Yeah, you need internet fee. All right. Approve. So let me just quickly approve all of this and you would see, so you can see approved, approved, approved. What else is here? Transport funds. No, I don't feel like giving you. No. Transport funds. Won't you come if I don't give you transport? What else? We have internet. Okay, let's give you internet. Yes, approved. What else? Internet again. All right, internet, that's fine. Payments, internet, approved. What else do we have? Transport funds. Who is this? Annabelle. I think I know you, but okay. Need money. No, I don't like the request receive. Need money. No. Reject. Who else do we have here? Joseph. Joseph in the Bible. I would approve this. Approve. Okay, who else is this? Okay, we are done. So if you go to your email, and I try to open one of this, it will tell me you have already completed this request. So I don't need to come here at all. I might not even open my, because like I said, in the admin department, we are very busy. So now let me show you the flow. You can see this has completed. Your flow ran successfully because I have approved and it has updated. So let me just show you look at this. So we have all this. I have collected all of this information. Now, what I can do, that in the Power Platform or the Power Platform ecosystem, we have Power Apps, Power BI. I can now take all this information and do an analysis with it, with my Power BI. But you're not going to be doing that. So I have successfully, or we have successfully helped the admin department of Omolola organization. And that will be the end of today's session. Please come tomorrow. Let us go deeper. Let's dive deeper. All right. Thank you very much. Do we have any question? Do we have any question? Drop questions below if you have any question.
Thank you so much, Omolola Alfred. It was really an informative class and insightful, and I even learned a lot myself. So please, if you have any question, please drop your questions, and I can see like a lot of applause, virtual applause. Yeah, I think she deserves it. Yeah, so thank you very much for the class. So if you have any question, please, you can just raise your hand to ask, or you can ask your question from the chat. So if you raise your hand to ask, I can give you the mic to ask your question. And I can see with Sunday comment, but it's not fair about the approval system. Yeah. Okay. And thanks to all the audience as well. It was really an interactive class. I really appreciate that. So if you have any question, just raise up your hand or you put your question in the chat. So I'm going through the chat. I can't see any question yet. So you can just raise your virtual hand if you have any question. Okay, I think somebody has his hand up. So I hope it's a question, not to talk about this. Okay, so Sunday, I'm giving you the mic so you can ask a question.
All right, thank you, Toby. It's a question. All right, so I wanted to ask, in a situation where, let's say for some reasons you don't want to, you leave this organization, and or let's say the SharePoint site is no longer functional, and you need to now you need to move this everything you have here to a new SharePoint site. Do you have to go and create the whole process all over, or can you export this out and then rehost it in the new SharePoint and then do all your connections to the new SharePoint site afresh? Or do you have to start creating the whole list afresh again in the new SharePoint site?
Okay, thank you for your question. So, Omolola.
All right. Okay. Sunday, if I may ask, are you talking about the data or the columns?
Yes, the data in the SharePoint that I just created now.
Okay. So now you can export the data. So you can use a flow actually to take all your data, all this data now, and put it in another, let's say another SharePoint list or another place entirely. Do you get? So you can use flow. Off my head, I know you can use flow to get all of this data and take it somewhere else. I don't know, Toby, do you have something to say about that too? Because Toby is also a professional, an SME. So let's see if he has another idea. But you can use flow to take all of this. So all you just need to do in that scenario is you just replicate all your columns, right? On another list, replicate all your columns and use flow to take all this data and run the flow. All of this data will be transported to the new destination, the new place you want it to go to.
So does that answer your question, Sunday?
Does that answer your question?
Yes, but when you say I'll use a flow, is it why the site is still active or when the site is already no longer active? Where am I setting the flow?
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Let's say that this site and all of this is no more working. All right. All you need to do, get a flow. You have the okay, let me put it like this. In the case where you're migrating tenants, right? You're leaving this tenant and you're going to another tenant. All you need to do is create a flow. There's a flow that can do that. Create a flow, put all your cards right together, then create another column. All of this column exactly, create it on another list. All right, then you transfer. You pick all the data from here and you transfer it to the other list. Toby, do you know of any other, let's say, method for him to transfer his data?
Hello, Omolola. Okay, maybe Toby should just
okay.
But I wanted to ask that, what if I export it? Can't I import it in the new site? Since I have the option of exporting, I don't know. This is just
okay.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Toby.
Okay, Omolola has actually made justice to that, so I've talked about that. So she's just trying to say in summary is there are two ways to do that. Either you create the column, like you said, you can export the data either in an Excel form, in a JSON form, then now import in your new environment. That's manually. That's what Omolola was trying to say. Or you can use Power Automate. Now, Power Automate, you can also move all of those data dynamically to that other field, like to that other data sets or to another table. Necessarily doesn't have to be. It can be SharePoint, it can be SQL, it can be anywhere.
Yes.
So what Omolola is just trying to tell you that you can also have another flow, not this kind of flow, another flow where you migrate all of those data to that particular data set you want to do, either in another data set, and so either in another database, maybe SQL, or in another environment. So that's what Omolola is just trying to say. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much, Omolola. Thank you, Toby.
So somebody raised his hand up. Sorry, you can raise your hand. Sorry, I'll be trying to clear off or answer Sunday before bringing another person. So if you have any question, please you can ask. And if you have you can also drop in the chat in case maybe you're a bit shy. I used to be shy myself. So please, if you have any question. Okay, I think there is no. Oh yes,
minus Sundays. I saw
yes,
another hand.
the person dropped his hand. I think he was trying to make a suggestion or stuff like that. I don't know. Okay, so I think there's no more hands. Okay, the answer is up. Okay, so I'll be giving your mic now, Barry. Okay, so Barry, you can unmute and ask a question or contribute.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. So I wanted contributing to what he asked. That was why my hand was up, but I think it has been answered. Because I practically. Hello, am I audible, please?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, Barry. Thank you.
All right. So I practically did most of the migration. Like I'm trying to get data from SharePoint, moving to the data vars or SQL. So it's quite possible, but I wanted saying that the migration works better if you're moving to from tenant to tenant. Migration just works better instead of you stressing yourself in creating the same list again in another environment. So that's for that. But taking it from maybe SharePoint to Dataverse, that's when you have to bring in the data flow and doing your connector ish. So that's what I wanted saying. Actually, that's why my hands went down because Yusuf already answered the question and Omolola actually portrays on it more. That's what I wanted to contribute.
Thank you very much, Barry.
So thank you very much, everyone. If you still have any question, you can raise your hand or you can drop a question in the chat. So thank you, Omolola Alfred. Thanks for your section. Okay.
Sorry, I have a question. Omolola, I don't know. In your Power Automate, I have a question. I just want to get the clarity why you did that. The you did when the form is submitted or something, you then did get response. Was there a reason why you did that get response or something in your Power Automate flow?
Get response.
No, in Power Automate, designer, so studio or something. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I'm trying to get the response from. So we started from. Did you start from the beginning of this class?
Yes, I did. No, I just wanted to know the reason for that get response.
Yes. So okay. So we started from forms, and after submitting a form, we got the response of the form, and we took all the response of the form and we sent it here. So I just want to get the response that anybody submits. So that's why I added the get response details card.
Yeah, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay. I believe Omolola has answered all of your questions and I've made justice to all of that. So thank you, Omolola Alfred. Thanks for your use case, and I know it was really innovative and insightful. It was to me, and I believe to everyone too. So thank you everyone for coming and thanks for making this section interactive. So we're having this section again tomorrow. So this is just the part one. And like Omolola said, we've just started. So we come back tomorrow. So tomorrow same time, 4 to 5 tomorrow. So sorry we went 10 minutes extra. So we're really sorry about that. So come back. We'll be having this class tomorrow, same link. So just join us tomorrow from 4 to 5, and I hope you learned something from this, and Please, you can also practicalize this, and also let's see what you've done. You can also post it on any social media with hashtag 30 days of learning, and we look forward to seeing that. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you very much. And I think we'll be ending the section here. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Omolola Alfred.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Toby.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.